And here we are at another episode of Hope Speak. Here, myself, Hopey, Tyler Hope. I'm here with Kevin Huang.
Kevin Huang, you actually said it mostly better than
there we go.
There you go.
Awesome, I nailed it. All right, I was really worried about that. So let the guys know with your current venture and the reason why I reached out to you, because there's something that I really want to speak with Hope Speak. One, it's training, nutrition stuff, but it's also mental health. So I'm really excited with your up-and-coming project. So let everyone know.
So I actually got invited. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast as well. So I actually recently created an Instagram page called Mental Health Truths because I suffer from mental health. I personally go through, dark places in the mind, depression. Recently got diagnosed with ADHD as well, so adult ADHD, excuse me. There's a stigma out there where we get an image of saying we're not allowed to speak. But then one day I clicked, recently I clicked, I was like, fuck that, I'm just going to reveal what's it really like on the dark side of depression. It's not sugarcoating, speaking from the heart. I recently posted yesterday that of me crying. That's me most mornings. So people, if you know me, you know me, Tyler, you always see me as this happy dude, but no, we put on an image
Yeah, for sure. It was a few months ago I ran into you. I was at a jiu-jitsu comp, and you're like, how you going? I was like, I got hit by a car. And you're like, what the fuck? I'd seen because I haven't been on social media. And then you mentioned, I was like, oh, fuck. And I was meaning to keep an eye out for you. And then when I seen you originally post about it, I was like, fuck. All right, I've got to make sure. And I'm really excited to see how this unfolds. Obviously, I talk about mental health. This is part of Hope Speak. But I also ingrain fitness and health. I think it's all intertwined with that. So I guess, is there any big things that you want to try come out with your Insta post? And I do want to add with that, do you also feel it's much harder to talk about it as a male?
Oh, 100% it's harder to talk as a male because we were raised to say we're the alphas. We're not allowed to speak, and we always have to, mental health is it's non-existent, especially to all the Asians out there, you know what I mean. Me growing up, we're just oh no, crying's for weak. Even with you guys, Caucasians, locals, we're male, you hide back.
Just men in general, yeah,
it's just men in general, and I'm just why? Why do we have to do this? So I recently, this is speaking from my heart, I recently went to acute care team because I did end up attempting on my life. Yeah. So I went to acute care team. If you're from the Gold Coast, you know the Robina hospital, public hospital. So I'll make a post about this another day. But the people there told me that it's mostly females that goes into the acute care team, because they have a facility for mental health patients. Yeah, and that's when I switched on. I was like, why don't I come out and be like, this is fucked? Why are males holding on and not expressing to themselves to the world? Why do we have to suffer in silence? And that's why. You look at the suicide rate of males, it's through the roof.
So when you had that moment where you went in, obviously it was a bit of a surprise to you, but when you then started getting care and people talking to you about, I guess, or I assume, relatable things, how did that make you feel?
It was an eye-opener, With my depression, I can't speak on behalf of everyone's depression. My depression makes me think I'm always a giver. I give everyone energy and stuff, but I don't want to tell anyone about my problems because it's a burden.
Yeah, 100%.
And
been there.
And when people are generally out there, the acute care team, thank fuck for the Australian health system, There's people that actually care. With my new page I created, I've been getting inbox. Like you even inboxed me, and the comments, like it's crazy how much support we actually have.
Yeah.
It's just whether we have the guts to reach out.
Yeah, for sure. And I totally understand, because when I had my mental health battles as well, the whole thing of maybe expressing the level I was having, because I didn't want to possibly burden or upset someone.
Exactly.
Like, I would say a little bit, but I didn't want to say the degree that I was, because I didn't want to possibly make them feel upset or maybe ruin their day, or because again, always thinking about other people giving and thinking about it. I don't know exactly how true it is. I don't know if you've heard of those personality tests where it like gives you 4 letters. Have you looked at that before? Yeah.
I think it's like D is dominant, S submissive, and something like that. I haven't looked into it.
So there's one that I've done. It normally starts with an I and an E, so that's like introverted or extroverted, and then there's other ones after that. So I've done one, and I got an INFJ. Apparently, like only 5% of the population has that one. So it's like introverted, nurturing, feeling, and judging. So part of it, I can be nurturing but still judging people, which is pretty funny. But in that part, they believe that you are constantly caring for other people and thinking about them, and you can be quite empathetic, but that also affects your own decisions. I don't like the label 100%, and I think I'm glad there's a lot more people talking about it, because in that sense, say people are depressed or whatever, I got bipolar, they label themselves as that, and then if they're fixed on that, then they're not having some kind of way of being able to grow or get out of that mold. So I like to read on it and maybe understand, but it's very interesting to try to figure out more of who you are. So when you were in this facility, did you have any other practices or tests or tools to try and learn more about yourself?
So, obviously, the procedure is when I had my incident, I'm just going to call it incident.
Yep.
My mate actually came in and found me passed out on the floor. So, it was an OD attempt.
Yeah.
And so the procedure is they take you to the ambulance, they pump you stomach full of charcoal so you get out of the stuff. And then when you're settled, they come a doctor, a psychiatrist to analyze how stable you are. And then after that, they move you to a different facility. It's a whole lot of screening to make sure you don't have weapons and stuff. And it's funny when the psych interviews you, because it was really weird when I go from sad to happy, then to happy to sad. So when I was getting in, like, what's the saying, like, when they screen you, that's right, they use the word screen you. They was like, wow, I can't tell, like, I'm fully happy. So recently they say I have a borderline personality disorder. I
know of it. I've got a client with it. I know some people with similar things as well. And that's starting to come out a little bit more as well, so people can understand that.
Yeah. So obviously, and with my recent diagnosis of ADHD as well, that doesn't help. So how my brain operates, if something bad happens, boom. For example, if I have a cut on my finger, my brain goes, holy shit, I'm going to lose my finger because of this infection. Like I start freaking out, and then the overwhelmness. So I just feel overwhelmed. It's like, fuck it, I just want to sleep. I don't want to deal with it. And that's what happened to me. So,
okay. So that's what I've heard about. What is it? BPD, I think they short.
Yeah, BP, borderline. BPD.
BPD. Yeah. There is some kind of thing that triggers a response, whether it's defensive, emotionally, or something physically, where it shuts, and it's somewhat a protective mechanism. So, and normally it's from past events or whatever. And sometimes people don't know those events, but do you, when you said exactly, I assume there was a moment or something.
Exactly. So, since this is totally the truth. So, I grew up in a very nice, born in Australia, very nice family, but a lot of my things from here, it's actually from childhood. So
Mm-hmm.
I see psychologists, they say, I grew up in you could say domestic violence house. So,
Mm-hmm.
my dad gambled, I was very independent since young. So I never had that love from a father figure.
Yep.
So, and then, being child, hopeless, growing up in that violent situation really did traumatize me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I feel abandonment, like I feel abandoned, that's
Yep.
a lot of emotion clicks in where I feel overwhelmed. And I think that's why I give so much to people because I never receive,
Yeah.
and I wanted other people to feel what I never felt. So
Yeah, I feel you with
Yeah.
that too. I experienced some level of that, but my abandonment was more relating to my mum passing and stuff. So it's a different element of like it's being left and deserted, but it was in a different way. But I've also heard from other people with BPD, it's some kind of stuff from their childhood, and they don't realize until they're like almost in their 30s. And really starts to really show through other failing relationships or friendships and stuff as well.
yeah, see, I'm almost 30. I'm 27, and that's exactly like you said. It's like, wow, now your brain's a lot more mature, but in a bad way, you kind of like living in the past where the past is coming back to traumatize you. But when we're young, we don't think about it because we're always playing sport and stuff. But when you have your alone time and your brain's mature, you always go back to something coming back to haunt you.
Yeah, and there's a part of it as humans, we also have a negativity bias. Instead of we naturally swing to what is the worst case, and that's like a protective mechanism, not what is the best case scenario. This is something that I often try to say with clients when they're a bit nervous about going to the gym or whatnot. And because it can be very daunting, if you're overweight and going to the gym and there's, beautiful, bodybuilders in there going to laugh at you or whatever it may be. One, they don't. They're too busy looking at themselves doing their own workout.
Yeah, too busy bloody taking selfies and shirtless. Like a bloody, I can't stand it.
It's whether they're like that or they're literally got their head down and they're freaking bopping to their music, looking at their program, what they're doing next. Well, whatever it is.
Humble about it,
Everyone goes to the gym to work on themselves.
Yeah.
There is maybe 2%, I'm not going to lie, there are some fucking wankers in there. There are fucking wankers
100%.
in the world.
That's with everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's wankers everywhere. But, Actually, talking about depression, it's funny that you mentioned there's people... in my personal opinion, I think everyone, whether it's severe or not severe, everyone is going through some battle. That's why we train.
Mm-hmm.
100%. People, what pisses me off about society these days is, I'm totally fine. I'm the happiest man alive, and where they just put on a brave face. It's like, mate, you're not. It's like, just be honest, and that's what I created the page for. Because I realized I can't put on any more brave faces. Like, this is the reality of depression.
So when you're saying that, is that also a sense because you felt you were that person, always happy, putting on a bit of a facade, and that was
100%,
draining?
100%. You've known me from powerlifting, like I always used to say hi to everyone and be friends with everyone, help everyone out. But yeah, that was all a facade. Deep down, when the genuine time I was happy was when I proposed to my missus. That was it. But every time, this is going to sound so stupid, but every time when I come after meeting someone out there or go train, I come home, I'm drained.
Yep.
Like, I'm just like, fuck, like, God, like, yeah, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And then in that case, you'd say you're more introverted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't talk at home much at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I do, it's like short and whatever. My ex-girlfriend, it was some time ago. Sometimes I'll be sitting down, she'll be there, and I'll just be kind of on my phone chilling, and she'll want to keep talking to me. And I'm just like, I'll just be talking to people at the gym where they had several clients. I don't want to talk to fucking anyone. I just want to chill and vibe. But again, that comes down to expressing that I didn't express that properly in make it make sense. So if anyone's listening, obviously Sometimes you just got to be honest, but not just saying, I don't want to talk to you. It's like, I don't want to talk to you because I feel drained because I have possibly talked to all these people.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm also saying this is about tools, about learning about yourself. Another reason why I kind of migrated to more online coaching, because like, I love going to the gym. I love running classes. I love being in that environment, seeing people high fives and stuff. I enjoy it. But afterwards, I feel like I got to have a nap and lay down. Like, it drains me. So now that I know 100%. That I kind of structure my business or the way I can, so I know if I'm not drained, I can probably sit at home, not talk to myself, write some programs and stuff, and still use my knowledge just in a different aspect that suits me better. And it's working somewhat well. Touch wood.
Touch wood.
Yeah. So even though I think some of those like quick online tests of, what your personality type is or whatever it is or your love languages and stuff, I don't think they're 100% fixed on who you are, but I think it's nice to have an idea or a ballpark of what you kind of shift to, and also know that we may shift because as humans we're capable of change, and I think that's pretty cool too.
The biggest relief I found is when I got a proper diagnosis. So, I always wondered why I'm different. Like, the question I always, am I happy? Like, I used to always ask, am I really happy? Like, after a big day of talking, like, making everyone happy, it's like, am I happy? That's the always question I ask, but I couldn't ask anyone else because you're pulling your problem onto them. So
well, they don't know. They don't have the answer either, do they?
Yeah, so, and when I got recently diagnosed of something like depression, or I always knew I had depression, but like BPD, I was like, okay, I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as an illness, We can treat an illness, so.
100%, and you have a way to navigate around it and understand, sure.
You can control it now, because now it's like you feel secure about it now. You're like, oh, I'm not crazy. It's actually, I'm ill, you know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, and I hope you take that on board moving forward, that yes, you have that diagnosis, but you're going to be capable of more when you get on top of it. And I hope, and I'm pretty confident your new project is going to give you energy in a sense to hopefully inspire others. Relating to you and your gym, because I always like to ask people what got them into their gym training. So I knew you originally from powerlifting. So give me a little bit of insight of you as a child with sport and going through to powerlifting.
So it's funny, I'm Asian, right? And everyone expects
Asian.
Really? But people always say we got to be like a doctor, lawyer, or businessman. Or I hated study. I hated books, man. I was always like, man, get me a footy, let me play footy, and let me just hurt someone, like sports.
Yeah.
But what got me in powerlifting was actually I used to tell myself, would I rather be a pretty boy or be a one strong motherfucker that everyone in the gym would be like, holy shit, that Asian guy is strong.
Yeah, sick.
So I didn't want to be a pretty boy. I never wanted to have abs or like, what the guys wear, the G-bangers on their back. I don't know what they call it.
G-stringers?
Yeah, the stringers, that's right. I just call it the G-bangers or whatever they call it.
The Y-backs, Yeah,
the Y-backs. Like, I never wanted to look like that. Because it was everyone always had that, like, the Ziz physique, and everyone wanted to be a Greek goddess, but I was like, I want to be a fucking man. I want to be like world's strongest man, like lift some heavy ass weight,
Yeah, sick.
So that's what got me into powerlifting.
When you were doing that and kind of reaching those milestones, like, did you feel the initial phases of that, did that help with you in that battle of being like happy when you asked those questions? Did you feel that was helping in that process?
Like, with lifting weights?
Yeah, and getting stronger and hitting PRs.
I was getting happier because with depression, it's you need to feel pain. Like, my depression is I have to pain and stuff. So with powerlifting, getting under that weight after the training session, your CNS is so fried. You don't have time to think. You just lay there and just fall asleep or just eat. So yeah, it definitely helped with my mental health,
Yeah, they also call it I think it's called a hedonic effect. I could be wrong, obviously, not a psychologist, but there's a point of whatever it swings down, it tends to swing up on the other side and amplified for longer. So this could be a context of, say you take some drugs, you feel great for several hours, and then it comes back down and dips for several hours or days after. Yeah. Or it could be the other way where you feel pain for several hours, but then you feel better for like a day afterwards. So
yeah, exactly.
That's just like a general thing. And this is why I have one of my favorite quotes I came up with. I hope it's my one, maybe someone else's, but I say, love yourself enough to endure some pain. And this is when you're like, sometimes like, fuck, I don't want to do this today, but you grab your fucking bag, go to the gym and still kind of kick your ass, because eventually 100%. It's going to come along.
100%, I agree. Like, my way of feeling alive is, a lot of depression is people cut themselves or stuff, and you know the reality.
I've heard about it for sure.
But this is the dark side of depression. We need to feel pain to feel alive.
Yep.
That's why that's why I started getting tattoos.
Yep.
So tattoos is a way of me feeling alive, because I feel the pain. Right? And boxing as well now, like getting punched. Oh, I feel alive. So that's the same with powerlifting. Powerlifting afterwards, fuck, my back is pain. Pain takes away what goes on in here. This is a very powerful thing, but the pain can take it away.
Yeah. I also believe like that feeling of pain is a direct link to some kind of physical accomplishment, or you were doing something. So even though pain itself, if you isolate it, doesn't seem good, but there's normally a connection with that to accomplishment. So hopefully, I think that might be in the sense of maybe a healthier pain as well versus cutting or whatever. Obviously, there's still similar effects from the body, whether it's adrenaline or whatever, to deal with it. But I guess if it's like from training, you got to accomplish attached to it, so that could be more of a healthy pain. I don't know if that's a way to label it, but that's something I want to try to get across, is getting a healthy pain.
Getting healthy pain. Yeah, there's so many ways. Like when I go through bad state, I rely on drugs and alcohol. You know, I used to, you name a drug, like on the weekend party, I call it the nose beers for those people listening. You know what it means. Yeah. And like you say, you get a high on that second, and then you just get a crash. Yeah, it's funny how the mind works. Like now these days, I just box and just get punched, and then it's a healthy pain. Yeah,
for sure.
Healthy pain.
So, do you wish to jump in the ring and like have a fight? Is this a part of an endeavor with your boxing, or is it just a skill?
It's just I had one fun fight. It was like a corporate fight thing.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really fun to watch.
Yeah, but it's a discipline. It keeps me out of trouble, you know, and it's a safe place for me as well, where in boxing, you got to be there 100%, because if you're not, because I spar Saturdays, if you're not there mentally, you're going to get belted. So, it takes, you know, from jiu-jitsu, if you're not there, for sure. You get armbar, you don't know how you got choked. So with boxing is the same thing.
The other the camaraderie that you build in that kind of stuff, it's a much higher level than other sports. I know there are rugby and stuff, but if it's directly fight sparring one-on-one, and I guess when you're fighting in general, it's ultimate level of me versus you at the highest level. You know, obviously competing in chess or whatever, it's still a battle and being competitive, but there's an ultimate, you know, whether it's fighting you, whatever martial art it may be. But when you're training and pushing each other, there's points where like you're both pushing each other to an extreme, and it could possibly have an outcome of death. So towing that line, but also trusting that person with your life. This is obviously extremity, but it's a reality of doing this stuff. That is why you actually build such great bonds with your training partners, because if they be completely reckless, it could be a life, or at least like a life-altering injury.
And that's 100%.
why. So the connections and bonds from different kinds of martial arts or disciplines. And I joke around, it's like, you know, someone chokes you and after he's like, oh, you slapped their fight, like, oh, you almost killed me. Like,
yeah, but it's
like,
true. Like,
yeah,
it's true. Like, you know, with boxing, you got to trust your, like, we're sparring. We're not reckless, you know? Like, we don't try to kill each other. We're very technical about it. So, and you got to have full faith. And like you said, if you get one punch to the back of your head, you could have a brain bleed. You know?
It's pretty wild.
And then with fighting, it's taught me discipline because I used to hate on the world. Even though I want to hate on the world, I used to go out, you know, always wanted to start fighting. You know, I was a reckless 18. But it's kind of funny, when you know how to fight, you don't want to cause trouble anymore. You kind of want to de-escalate the situation. You're just like, hey, bro, sorry, man. I'll be the bigger man. I'll apologize.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. But it's also because you're training and doing that stuff, you know that you are capable. Yeah. So that possible insecurity when you're out, oh, maybe I need to step up first because I might not be capable to defend myself. And that's why sometimes people be like that. But it can be like, because I trained jiu-jitsu for a bit and then I stopped and did bodybuilding and powerlifting, and then I got to a point where I kind of felt like I was maybe too immobile to somewhat even fight or train. So I remember being a point in time in my life where I was like, fuck, maybe I'm not that capable. And I guess it probably dawned on me more because I had fight experience. There are some people out there, I think they're ignorant because they've never done it and they think, oh, if I see red, bro. But I'm a big believer of the self-confidence that you get from doing it. I guess it's doing the reps, doing the training. You just ingrain that confidence and it doesn't matter. Yeah,
100%. You actually, martial arts actually humbles you, you know? Like, I see, because Gold Coast is bad for it. You've been to the Gold Coast, like people walk around like that. Like, man, why are you walking like a chicken? Like a pigeon chest. Like, just be humble about it, man. Like, I wear my pajamas on the road. You know, people wear extra small shirts when they're supposed to wear extra large shirts. They're like, oh, okay. But hey, it's just taught me to be humble. Like, just mind your own business, do your own thing, and you don't have to arc up. And,
awesome. So, out of some of your training at the moment, what would you say is like the three biggest elements that you've built from it? So, you talked about kind of discipline or self-confidence.
Yep.
If you're going to label out three, what would we kind of label as three benefits from boxing?
Oh, routine, 100%.
Routine?
Routine. Like you said, discipline. And then, I guess it's like the third one. Well, I guess it's like trust. You know, like I have a great relationship with my coaches. Like when I struggled with the recent situation, they're the first people I called.
Yep.
So you gotta trust your coach because they're gonna take you. Like, they're going to be in your corner whether you're fighting or you're not, or you're just training for health, you know?
Yep.
I guess that's it, trust.
Yeah. And, trust is, it's interesting that you said that because on my end from coaching people as well, I quite often find that people will reach out to me with whatever problems they're having. Probably first, and I find out with sometimes it's even before their partners or their family. So, like, I don't think people realize a burden or stress that a coach can also come with. Like, obviously, it's awesome. You know, you can get paid good money and you're helping people change lives, but there is a burden there of people's, I guess, liability. There's whether it is just general health or extremities, and I also know the extremities as well because I did have a client commit suicide back in 2018. So that has always dawned on me, and I don't think people respect coaches that is an underlying factor that coaches have, or you could even say experienced coaches. And I know a lot of coaches give at those times very wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it's really rare. That's what I mean by trust. It's really rare to find someone you can trust and talk to. I remember telling my two boxing coaches, I was on the day I was calling them crying. I was like, "This is it." Like they were stressed. They haven't heard from me for a week until I showed up until I messaged them and I got told, man, these two coaches are tough. They train champions, you know. My one-on-one coach is a Muay Thai champion, so they've said they've never been that stressed, you know. So a lot of, you know, like you say, I trust them with my life. Like if I have a problem, I'll call them and they'll be there in front of me right now. So that's the problem with PTs. I noticed a lot of PTs. It's rare to have PTs that actually care about your clients. Like a lot of PTs these days about money.
Yeah, there is a mixture there too. And I guess there's a mixture as well when some PTs start to scale up to really high numbers.
Yeah.
They do care, but it's spread more thinly. And there's only so much that they can help or care enough per person. I'm just saying this from my experience, and this is the reason why, because I've been a PT that was doing 60 to 70 PT sessions way back. Yeah. This is a long time ago. And the reason why I stepped away from that, one, it drained me dealing with that many people on a daily basis. And, you know, I didn't like it that I couldn't care so much for people because I was spread thin. So I'd much rather be on a lower scale. But there is a part in the fitness industry, because PT now kind of crosses over with like Instagram, social media, where they kind of just give programs. And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't really call that personal training.
For a 12-week training
program.
Yeah,
but it's like, that's still helping, but that's not personal training. It's kind of advising, but it's not full coaching either.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's a line or discussion that people don't realize as well, the different levels, because you can have an instructor who just teaches a class. They kind of help people and they care, but it's different to the level of being like a PT 101. And then a coach is even more in depth. And I say that, and I say this to a lot of people when they want to inquire for coaching. I'm like, well, you know, there's a lot of information we go through with like even your daily sleep, you know, your sleep habits, your water, what you do on the weekends, like all this stuff.
Minor details, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, sorry to all the PTs. I'm very rude. I'm very cutthroat, but
go for it.
I can create a page, put a link below. Hey, here's 12-week program for free. I'm just subscribed to it, and after 12 weeks, it's a $20 monthly, and I can just find a diet online and just, you know, people like, I did the Cert 3, Cert 4 PT course, you know, and I did level 1 ASCA, you know, the strength conditioning and stuff, but what I don't understand, I just can't deal with it. Hey, the image of PT. What's the first word of PT? Personal.
Yep.
You know, they don't get personal enough. You know, like you said, coaching, personal. You got to focus on the minor details.
Yeah.
And then the training comes second. You know, you can get more results if someone comes in with a bad day. You have a chat with them first, then train. Yep. Not just you're having a shit day. Oh, I don't care. We're just training now. All right.
Yeah. And there's a real skill with that of going, okay, you're having a bad day. All right, let's get you training. Because sometimes you got to divert their attention a little bit to go, okay. And then, because if they have a good workout, they're going to feel good. But some 100%. Days it doesn't fucking work like that. And I was, because I've been presenting for AIPT teaching with the Cert 4 in fitness. And I'm saying sometimes when you have your clients come in, you know, we do have to try to read their body language with how we're going to go about it. If they've had a bad day, then you're going to try and get them to do a max squat that day or whatever. Like, it's not going to happen. And then if they're going to fail, then you now created more distress or maybe more failure because they they failed with a relationship they got broken up with.
Yeah, they're mentally already down.
It's hard, and there is no recipe for success with that. It becomes more of an intuitive thing, and knowing per person with that. It's a hard skill with that, and I know some people personal trainers who are just cutthroat like that, because I don't think they have the mental energy just to do that.
Yeah.
To take on everyone and take on.
A lot of people always think about IQ, intelligent quality, in whatever they call it. But
Yeah. Emotional intelligence, yeah.
Yeah, what about EQ, emotional qualities? Like, you know, people just focus on IQ, or I'm a good PD because I got this, I'm IQ. But emotionally, they're not available. They're not available. You know what I mean? Sometimes I see some people talking to a PT. They're like, yeah, but you look like them. They're not listening. They don't give a fuck about what the client said. Or they're thinking about, oh shit, this client's going to feed me. Why don't you do both? Like you can get fed, but you can care about someone as well.
Yeah, and that's
why gyms can sometimes be bad for depression as well.
Yep, I agree. And then I guess that could be an element too, where they actually left being unheard, and that adds to more because they don't feel like they're being, they're unheard elsewhere. So with that, with your training at the moment, like, what's your path now? Obviously, you like the routine. Do you have a direction? Is there a certain skill set? I would like to I want to hear a little bit more about your boxing adventure and what you're trying to work on skill-wise.
So, boxing, I'm just trying to learn more about the art, the art of boxing, footwork, conditioning, being more confident, head movement, and just getting used to punches coming at your face. Because it doesn't matter, that's some scary shit when punches come at your face.
Is there go-to techniques that you like?
Yeah, because I'm short. I'm a heavy dude. I'm about 110 at the moment, and the people are like 6'4". So I I study a lot of styles, different styles. Me and my coach worked out I'm more like a Mexican style, they say. So just charge forward, hands up, just throw some big overhands, cut the distance, and then attack the body. So Mexican style.
Yeah, cool. Mexican style. Nice. I've recently watched the Mike Tyson. It's not an autobiography, but it's on Netflix. It's like a series of him as a child going through his life. Have you seen that at all?
No, I haven't. I'll have to check it out.
It's pretty interesting. I knew a little bit about his past because I had looked into it with his the hot boxing podcast that he has. I kind of did a little bit more research, but it was really interesting to see his whole career, and I didn't realize he had to be into jail that many times in juvie and stuff. So it was pretty interesting to see his roller coaster of a life. Going through that, and then also being broke, millionaire, broke again.
The amount of stuff that went into his nose, I don't know how he's still standing sometimes. God bless that dude.
Yeah. He's pretty interesting now on his podcast. I guess he's done a lot of soul searching, and he's quite aware of himself. I enjoy it. So do you have any favorite Netflix shows or anything at the moment?
Man, I'll be honest, it's hard for me to sit still to watch a show. Because I always have to do something, and I always have to skip, and because of the ADHD, obviously. But I'll probably I've been watching a lot of Keeping Up with the Kardashians actually lately. I'm starting to watch that. It's just so dumb. You don't need your brain to think. You just kind of go there and be like, holy shit, these are some dumb people, man. You know what I mean? So I just don't have to use my brain. It's the time I actually just switch off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Keep Up with the Kardashians with people with ADHD.
Okay, there you go. That's a pro tip. All right. So what I like to normally try finish with is 3 tips relating to getting better or managing. So whether it is you mentioned already keeping up with the Kardashians, to keep helping with the ADHD, but obviously it's a mix of things for yourself. But what are 3 things that really help you stay on top of your mental health?
Honestly, for me these days, I'm that's why I created a page journaling. telling
Yep.
people what I'm going through. So
journaling itself, yep.
journaling itself,
Mm-hmm.
and man, start running, because that's
Yep.
one thing. The start is always hard, but when you start running, you still think. But when you go longer, you got to focus on your breath. You're sweating, you're struggling. When you struggle, you don't think of any stuff.
Yeah. You just try to simplify and focus on your breath and 1 foot, and it kind
Exactly.
of. And I've always said it's like a active meditation when you get to that. It's like you get through that first wall where it's like it hurts, and then you kind of get that rhythm. Then you're in this almost like meditative state.
Yeah. The third one is find something you love. You know, like I love cooking, so sometimes I'll just start cooking and then cook a mean feed and then eat. And then you feel good. You're like, fuck, this tastes good, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
do you like to create different kind of styles and cuisines?
Oh, 100%. I'm Asian, but I can't cook Asian food to save my life. I'm more of a steak person.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I don't eat is vegetables. Sorry to the vegans out there as well.
Oh, man. You just hate veggies?
It just doesn't look right. Green, red, yellow, just on the plate does not look good.
Do you eat plenty of fruit though?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
I'm one of those freaky guys that eats the kiwi fruit with the skin on, just to let everyone know.
I love it.
Yeah.
I do it. It's my favorite. I bite both ends, get the little knob bits off, chuck them in.
Yeah, I'm the same. Less dishes, and there's your fiber.
Yeah. I'm all about that kind of. Hence why I got my little Hopies hack series. I have like easy way of trying to like stick to nutrition. Like I'll make my own little ramen bowls that I make, and I kind of just cook it all in the pot. Then I just eat it out of the pot. One less thing to cook.
Exactly. Less dishes. But don't worry, I eat fiber 1 bars to get my fiber in.
Get your fiber in.
Did
you get onto Quest bars before?
The protein bar?
Yeah, like a Quest bar, where it had plenty of fiber in it as well.
Nah, just fiber 1 bars. They're addictive.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're addictive. I could
so
eat 4
recapping,
easily.
yeah, okay. So recapping, journaling, start running, and then find something you love.
Find something you love. Truly love.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to share the link to Kevin's Instagram page for the Mental Truce. That's what it's called?
Mental_truce_22.
Cool. So I'll link it in the bio for the YouTube so people can go directly to that. And if anyone wants to keep along, make sure to give them a follow. And until then, peace out. Ciao, ciao.
Peace.